Hey guys, it's Chris. So before we get to Sunday night's episode 7 review and recap, I had my cousin Chad from the Our House channel over, and we just sit down and turned the camera on and had a little discussion about Game of Thrones. So we do dive into a little bit of spoilery territory here because he hasn't read the books I have. I've answered a few of his questions as well, what some of the differences are between the books and the show, and based on that we talk about our predictions a little bit of speculation in episode 7 and going forward. So let's roll it and see what you guys think. Alright, what are we talking about?
Well, let's see. They need to advance the story of Tyrion. They got to do that because they didn't even do anything with Tyrion in episode 6.
Well, they did. He got captured by slavers.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
No, dwarf cocks are apparently
I forgot about that.
good luck in this world.
So they need to advance that further and possibly get them on the slave ship headed somewhere. And I guess they're going to be the ones taking them to Daenerys in Marine, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, Tyrion saved his own life by basically using his wit again, saying, "Hey, you don't know that my cock belongs to a dwarf unless you take me and they see it on me."
Yeah, right.
And he made the joke about size. And then Jorah, he talked Jorah up real big as a badass fighter, and he said, "Okay, we'll take you to." They mentioned the fighting pits in Marine.
Right.
She had reopened the fighting pit, so they're aware that Dany's the queen there, so that's where they're going. But Dany also said that no slaves would be in the fighting pit, so
right.
he can't be a slave and be there. But that's where he's going to be, just based off the previews we've already seen.
So they've got that storyline to advance. They got to get Jon Snow on the boat, headed out. They got to do something with Jon Snow because Jon Snow wasn't a fact. And you got Stannis. Stannis is taking off with the troops. He's attacking early against everybody else's best wishes and everything. Everybody was telling him, you need to wait. You need to take your time and wait for these other people to get here and all that. But he said, nope, if we wait, we're screwed.
And that's a slight deviation from the books. There is Stannis doesn't leave the wall until he does have a wildling army with him in the books.
Right.
So that is a divergence. The other thing with Jon Snow is if the book readers know, as of right now, he's dead as far as everybody knows. He got stabbed, at least that's when it ends, in A Dance with Dragons.
But we haven't got there yet.
So we haven't got there yet, but I think that's what's going to happen, at least in either episode 9 or 10. I think he gets killed because the other half of the Crows still hate him for making this decision to go recruit the wildlings. And so he's going now with Giantsbane to Hardhome to recruit them, and I don't think we're going to see a battle in Winterfell this year because Stannis hadn't got there yet, and if he gets killed, Melisandre, who's the one who can save him, is now with Stannis, and she's not at Castle Black.
Right.
So
how would that work?
I don't know what they're going to do. He may not get stabbed.
Yeah, because they've been changing storylines from the book to the show.
They're hinting at it though. They're hinting at it because you saw when Sam's left behind, when he leaves with Giantsbane, dude that he made First Ranger, he came up and said, "You're losing your friends, Tarly." So he's still. I thought he had kind of got it on the same page with Jon Snow, since he's now Lord Commander. So he's up on the little board council with him.
Right.
And he seemed to respect him since he chopped the other dude's head off. But it looks like he's still kind of being an asshole. So.
But that's really the only hope they got, though, is to get the wildlings and the crows together in order to deal with the winter that's coming, and in order to, again, they haven't advanced the story any further with the White Walkers. So, they're going to have to man up and get together somehow just to defend themselves against the White Walkers, not to mention the fact they're going to have to go find some dragon glass somewhere. It just don't grow on trees.
And so the other thing with that is we know winter is really here now because you saw with the wedding scene in Winterfell, which is a lot further south, right? The snow's falling now. It's going to get heavier and heavier and heavier. So winter's essentially here. We've seen in the previews that Stannis is camped somewhere in between the wall and Winterfell, and it snowed. I think the big storyline is getting these other crows to understand that yes, they've killed friends and family of yours, they've raided villages. Jon Snow's belief is they were just born on the wrong side of the wall. They're still people.
Yeah.
You've been fighting each other for thousands of years. If you just keep killing them up north of the wall, they just become
walkers.
The walkers, white or whites. So he's got.
Rick's got to come in and put a bullet in my head. Right. What do you think?
Exactly.
You know?
Are you a Targaryen?
That's right.
Not Shan.
And I'll tell you something else. I don't understand this. They love to show genitalia on this show. They will show anybody's genitalia anywhere, but yet all this talk about Tyrion being all hung,
Yeah.
they won't show his dick. They ain't got his dick on camera.
No, it's not in his contract. Just like apparently Danny's
Not
now.
that I'm interested in seeing it.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, see, even you kind of wonder though, because he's got this. It's kind of like Pod, right? Pod, his squire, that's now with Brienne.
Oh, yeah.
Shit, he went into the hoe house, 3 of them, and they didn't charge him, and they just left that open.
Yeah.
Nobody, and even Tyrion and Bronn said, "I said, what happened? We need details." And then you never heard another word about it. What did he do?
They just kind of insinuated.
What did he do to the
badass.
house?
Yeah.
What did he do in the brothel?
Yeah.
He's carrying something.
They insinuated he knew his ABCs and he was well.
And he had said he'd never engaged in that activity before.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
I don't know. But then again, maybe, you know.
It ain't like Littlefinger's giving away for free.
That was just supposed to be some little bit of comedy they threw in there because it's such
Yeah, but they don't do anything by accident though. They don't.
That's true.
They don't do shit like that by accident. They don't just leave it open. Everybody's sitting there wondering, what the hell did he do to those three hookers?
Well, and if you don't read the books, and I don't read the books, I've never read the books, the show is a surprise to you unless, of course, you're talking to somebody who's read of the books and knows sort of what's coming. Because this show, they will kill anybody at any time, any way, and it would just be, oh, well, that's it for that. But then sometimes they'll bring some of them back as, you know, smoke babies or whatever, you know, they'll bring them back to life or something, or, you know, I had a dream the other night, by the way, that you told me that Grey Worm died. Did I dream that?
No. I mean, no, yeah, I guess, because he hasn't. No, I didn't.
Yeah, because Grey Worm's alive.
Yeah, he's injured, but he's alive.
He's-
Barristan is dead to the dead or in hell. But
Yeah.
the men without banners, right?
Yeah.
That Melisandre went and met with. I mean, that dude that wasn't even religious can talk somebody into, coming back.
But see, I wonder, was it really that guy that, he said he had never been able to do that before, but then all of a sudden he could with the leader of...
Yeah, I wonder if it's
Banners.
other people.
But I wonder if, was it that he actually had that power and he just now was able to harness it, or is it maybe just that this guy, the leader of the Bannermen, can't die and he just thinks that because he's sitting over there praying over him or whatever, that's what's doing.
That's possible. But if you go again back to the books, you had the whole Lady Stoneheart character, who's apparently going to be left out of the show. But Sansa's kind of taking on that role apparently. I mean, now they're calling her Darth Sansa.
Well, yeah, but then they washed all the dark out of her hair and
so
brought it back to red.
that kind of shocked me too, because she
Yeah.
went into this, she went back to, and this is kind of what's been pissing me off about Sansa. I've been looking forward to her getting, starting to play the game,
Right.
and becoming powerful, and kind of taking her mother's footsteps and following that Lady Stoneheart storyline. But she's still kind of off like a weak little.
Now all of a sudden it's
girl
like
to
she's
me.
reverting back.
Yeah, and now
to
she's
being,
going back to
okay,
little weak,
yes,
and
or
of course we
whatever.
had the big scene last week that everybody's raising hell about. I mean, the show has decapitations and gore and literally guts hanging out of people and squashed skulls, and then you saw Dany get raped when she married Drago, but Drago was exotic and hot, so it was okay. And you actually saw that while she's sitting there crying.
Yeah.
But Sansa lays down, and all of a sudden it's an internet shitstorm.
After a marriage, when it was supposed to be consummated, I mean, she knew that was going to happen. She knew that was the rules. I mean, that's what they do, and she went through it anyway. Of course, I guess she figured she didn't have much of a choice now that Littlefinger's gone, off somewhere, and she doesn't have him around to kind of watch out for her and make sure she doesn't step in the puddle. So I guess part of it was she kind of felt like she had to, but Daenerys was in the same position too. Her brother was making her get married to this guy, and then
Right. She was sold.
yeah. So in a way, that's even
Drago
worse than
for
Sansa,
an
because
army.
she even came out and said, "I don't want to marry him," and she didn't want to do it. And then under threat of her brother, basically saying, "I'll let them do whatever they want to do to you. It's not your choice to make." At least Sansa was like, "Okay, I'll go through with it."
Yeah, and in this world, and it says a fictitious world, for Christ's sake. In this world, they know what happened, especially in the North. There's a wedding ceremony and all that. They didn't even carry her off. It was a small little wedding compared to the rest. She knew the rules, right? I mean, I'm not justifying it, but it's still, if you go through with the wedding, you know what to expect that night. And again, I don't want to get in that debate, really, or maybe I do, I don't know. But she didn't resist, yet it obviously caused her some pain. But at the same time, we were left to the imagination. We saw Reek crying. We just heard
all
some.
the dirty stuff they show in this show.
It's just some noises. It was just a couple some grunts, and it's not like it's a good situation that that you condone that no matter what time period it's in.
Right.
But it was no different than Dany, and you actually saw that happen. So I don't understand the outrage. I mean, it's Game of Thrones. If you're still shocked by this show, what the fuck are you watching it for?
And Dany came out on the other side of this, like the strongest character out there. She turned out to be this.
And that was completely different, but from in the books, by the way. In the books, when Dany married Drogo, she was scared to death though that night, and she knew what was coming and what was going to happen. She was scared, but then she accepted it and actually enticed him in a way, I should say. So it was a little different there, and we should expect that now in this damn show.
And they kind of did do that, but they kind of elongated it instead of the first time they got together. It took a couple of times, and then she was like, "Hey, I'm going to learn how to play this a little bit better, so that I don't have to sit here and suffer." And
she turned it around and made the best of her situation.
Made the best out of a bad situation.
She got her handmaiden to teach her how to screw.
Yeah.
And then she looked him in the eyes. They fell in love, and then they were each other's moon and stars and planets and Venus. And
it
all
turned out to be the
bullshit.
greatest love story of the whole damn show.
Until he got a cut.
Yeah.
And they didn't have Neosporin.
And it was a cut that he actually inflicted on himself, basically by pushing himself into that guy's
Which is pretty badass.
Which, by the way, I made this point before. Now that they've used up every good superhero out there, and they're making all these superhero movies, Hulk 1 through 8.
No, this is just two Hulks.
Well, they remade it like 9 times.
No, they did a shitty one, and then they did the actual decent one with Edward Norton, and now he's been in the Avengers.
Okay, there's been 9 different Spider-Mans.
Yes, Spider-Man's getting there, and there's more coming. Yes.
Superman's been made over 1,000 times. I don't know, Batman, Jesus, how many Batmans have we had? And now we got more coming. Another new one.
Ben fucking Affleck.
And so anyway, you've run through all the good superheroes, and now finally, from this show, it's like, oh, this guy's going to be in a superhero movie. It's like, oh, great, look, I mean, hell, he's like carved out of stone. My God, every guy wants to die and come back and look like Drago.
Yes.
And he gets to be the worst superhero ever. The laughing stock of superheroes. Now, I know you told me the movie's going to be badass.
He's going to be
this
Aquaman,
little Poseidon thing.
I agree. I agree. I know, yeah.
But come on, dude. Just picture him in the comic book Aquaman suit with the yellow and the orange and the green. It's orange and
tight. It's tights. It's orange and green.
And the fake scales and stuff. And he's like, I'm Aquaman. Stab you with my shrimp.
That's why I actually like this Aquaman look. I mean, I don't know how they're going to do it.
Of course, they got to change it and make Aquaman cool now all of a sudden because it's the only one they got left.
Yes.
They don't have anybody left to buy.
Well, he does have other powers other than just breathe underwater in the comics, but it's just you're talking about the 40s and 50s. It's
pretty soon
cheesy.
we're going to get into cartoon. Okay, well, all comic books are cartoons. But cartoon superheroes. It's going to be underdog, and all of a sudden it's going to be Jesse Eisenberg is going to be underdog.
Well, see, that's my thing. I couldn't. I mean, I like as much as I like Marvel because I'm a bigger fan than Marvel I am of DC. But I didn't watch Guardians of the Galaxy yet. Now, I may go watch it because it has an Infinity Stone in it for you Avengers fans that's coming.
Everybody says it was great.
And I heard it was a great movie, but I can never get into alternate universes and all that shit. Because you have, I can deal with, because I try to wrap my head around like Avengers, right? I can make that work like it actually happened. That's the kind of the goal of the new Marvel universe and DC as well, is to make it more realistic, not cheesy. but I still can't get around a talking raccoon and a fucking walking tree root.
I know.
I can't.
I know, it's weird. But you know what? If you accept the premise that it's kind of like in the old Superman, the original Superman movie, when Lois died, and then Superman got so mad that he flew backwards around the planet and made the Earth actually stop and then spin the other way, and it reversed time. It's like, okay, everybody's going, okay, the physics of that are impossible, that wouldn't work, and blah, blah, blah. But then you rationalize it and you say, well, it was a really cool scene. Even though it wasn't physically possible, it was a cool concept and it was a cool idea. So, listen, first of all, we're accepting that guys in tights save the planet on a daily basis, and that they all exist somehow independent of each other in these fake worlds.
But that's what's changing. That's what's changing.
But then we get all upset when they go off and do something that doesn't actually work with the laws of physics. Like, nah, he can't fly backwards and turn back time. It's like, hey, look, dude, you're talking about a guy from the planet Krypton who came down here and now he saves humanity on a daily basis, but his part-time job is working at the paper.
Yeah.
You know, okay, you're either going to accept the fact that it's crap and it's a fantasy world and that anything can happen and be happy watching a movie, or you're going to say, nope, the whole premise is stupid, I'm not going to watch it. It's one or the other. You can't be pissed off when they do something that doesn't work in the physical world, you know?
You look like Darth Bonnet.
Do
I
I?
mean, yes. No. It's...
Is my shit on crooked?
What?
Is
No.
my shit on crooked?
No, it's right.
You are part of a rebel alliance.
That ain't gonna work. Yeah, now you look like Black Panther or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't breathe in this thing.
I see a Schwartz as big as mine.
Is my ear still on?
Yeah, it's just a little red. I don't know where we were at all.
I don't either. Well, what do you think's coming in episode 7?
I think that
We can play this back later and see if we got anything right. I know I'll be wrong.
yeah. So yeah, if you're watching this, you know, we're talking about spoilery type stuff, kind of. I mean, I'm not going to say anything that I hadn't seen in the preview. So I think maybe this next episode, episode 7, I think Tyrion. I think you saw that scene in the preview where he looks up at somebody. I think that's Danny. I think he gets there. Now he's going with slavers now, so they're getting actually a quicker ride.
Yeah.
Jorah is going to, I'm not sure if she knows or I think she will attend her first fight in the fighting pits that she's reopened to free men, and she will see Jorah there.
But the problem is going to be is that now Daenerys, who is like, she's the Abraham Lincoln of slavery. She is going out and freeing all slaves.
Yeah, she split off from the Whig Party
And she's
started.
she's completely against it. Any slavery, she's banishing it. She's getting rid of it. So if slavers come into Marine,
good point.
there's going to be some hostility.
Yes.
But she's going to see that they have Jorah and they have Tyrion. Now I don't know if she even would
Yeah,
recognize Tyrion, but she's certainly heard of him.
She's heard of Tyrion. She should not know what's going on over there since Varys has. See, that's what you really don't know. Varys has been gone. He left with Tyrion. He was the one communicating with Jorah originally when he was a spy, but he had no direct contact with her that we know of, so she's not really hearing what's going on in Westeros.
Right.
Tyrion's going to have to explain all this shit, and I think that maybe that badass speech in the preview where you saw, you know, her saying the wheel, talking about the wheel, Lannister, Starks, one's on top and the other one's top, and on it spins, and I'm gonna break the fucking wheel. I think she's telling that to Tyrion. Now that may be not this following episode, it may be the next couple, but I think that scene where he looks up is like, oh shit, it's her, and she really does exist. I think that's her. I could be completely wrong.
Or maybe she'll be riding a dragon.
Well, I think that may happen. If that happens this season, which I don't know, but I'm just going off a little bit of what's in the books, so I don't want to get too much into that. But I know that if she's in the fighting pit, which does happen this season, they get surrounded by harpies, right? And she's got a few of the Unsullied, and Ser Jorah, I think, is there. And I think Tyrion's actually there too, in the middle. So if that goes down kind of like it does in the books, that's when she's about to get assassinated. They're outnumbered. And then Drogon smells the violence and blood and death and comes in and swoops down and burns the fuck out of everybody. She rides off for the first time.
Maybe. Okay, if they hadn't run into the slavers and Jorah had completed his mission, which is taking Tyrion to her as some sort of an offering to get forgiveness, and just throwing himself at her feet and at her mercy, saying, please listen, I brought you a gift. you got to give me another chance. I was in on the whole spying thing before I got to know you. Now that I know you, I'm totally in love with you. And when they make out and they go, whatever, that's not going to happen. But anyway, if they had made it, there would still be that time when she may have actually killed Jorah. Because she told him not to come back.
She was close to it then. She was deeply
But
hurt.
she was really mad, and now she's had time to cool off. But now that they're being brought
But he's Captain Friend Zone. I mean, he's never going to get to that point with her. He's Captain Friend Zone. But I originally thought, okay, he's taking Tyrion because it kind of presented itself that way. He kidnapped him as an offering. Hey, here's a guy.
Right.
But I think it's kind of, all right, he actually cares enough about her. I said this in the last video, that he's actually taken her because he knows he's well versed in dragon lore. And she does not know yet how to control as much as you can tame or control a dragon.
Right.
He has read this stuff, at least in the books.
And they've been showing how the dragons have been getting away from her. And how it's
Right.
become a
The
problem
two are
that she
locked
can't
up,
handle.
and Drogon comes and goes and gives her a little smooch every once in a while. But other than that, she really don't know how to control them. And Tyrion has read all this. I mean, he's there's two people in the books that you see read. It's Tyrion, and they make a point of that, and Sam Tarly. All right, they both read, and they both have done this in the show. They show that back at the old scene with Jon Snow and him going to the wall, and then he's explaining, hey, I have my mind, and this is why I read every day. You sharpen it like you do your sword. I sharpen my mind with books. In the books, he had dragon dreams as a child. He has this affinity for him, almost like a Targaryen, which again fuels the whole he may be a secret Targaryen thing. I don't quite buy that, but he knows, at least from his reading, about the old Valyrians and how they actually control dragons. And this is going to be a spoiler, kind of a spoilery thing, but there are some devices, let's say, that help control dragons in the books that we have not heard about in the show.
And in the books, maybe they do kind of bring about that Tyrion is some kind of secret Targaryen or whatever, but maybe in the show they're not going to do that. Maybe in the show it's just like, hey, you were part of killing my entire bloodline off or something like that, and but now you know about dragons, so I kind of forgive you.
Yeah, so I mean, either way, he's going to explain himself and probably explain that, hey, look, I killed my own father. They were trying to kill me. I've hated my sister from day one. She's hated me, but I don't buy
killed him on the shitter,
not on the privy. So I think that she's going to eventually accept his word and and whatever, maybe verify some things, whatever, with some little birdies. Another wild card is Varys. All right, he just kind of disappeared. I expect him to keep going to Marine.
They'll have to bring him back. He'll meet up with him somewhere later. Maybe that'll be episode 7.
And see, it happens different in the books. It's got something to do with Littlefinger going back to King's Landing, but Varys, I don't think, can go back now that he's left. So I don't know that that's going to happen when it comes to Varys. I think he shows up anyway, and then I think, I said a couple of times, that now you have Tyrion, Varys, and I don't know how long Jorah's going to live. If he's going to live, if he gets cured of the grayscale, there's her counsel, and Grey Worm still, assuming he comes back to full health.
Okay, but here's another thing to think of. There's 10 episodes in every season. And in the end of every season, they have to end with a bang. There has to be something big and something climactic. And then
Cliffhanging.
Yeah, and then a little something to keep you hanging on, to keep you functioning a bit until next season comes. So, now that we're going into episode 7, there's 7, 8, 9, and 10. That's 4 more episodes left. So, they have to be building their way, again, to follow the pattern, towards some big thing in 10. And episode 10, and it normally has to be some big epic battle. So will the big epic battle be Stannis coming to fight the Boltons? Because they still have more story to play out with the Boltons before they get rid of them, or before they at least decimate them and retake Winterfell. It could be that. It could be Jon Snow. It could be White Walkers coming in. It could be something like that. It could be riding a dragon. Maybe is the big thing.
I think I mentioned this a little bit in the last video too. I think
it could be her coming from the shores of Marine finally and coming to Westeros.
Yeah, I don't think she's going there this year. This is my opinion. You never know. This is Dan and Dave. They can do what the hell they want. It's not the books. It's not the books, people. Get over it. It's not the books. So yeah, they could do really any of that. But I think, just based off what it's going through, I don't think they can do both a white walker, or a white, just like the zombie guys. Big battle with the wildlings and do Stannis and Winterfell. I don't think they do both. I think they march south. Stannis may or may not get there before the season's over. I think that the big battle is going to be, because we've seen the preview, we saw the arms busting through the walls of that castle. We're assuming that's Hardhome. We don't know that yet. So I think it's the battle with the wildlings proving themselves that they're going to work with the crows, and they battle the whites, and they realize, you know what, if we don't join up, we're just fucking stupid.
There's got to be something that will
they have
solidify
to, right?
that.
But I think that ends. I think that happens, and then they maybe go back to Castle Black. Then that's when you're going to see the other half of the crows that don't like Jon Snow because of what he's doing. Maybe
split off,
kill him. Maybe, or
you know
that's gonna. I just got a feeling that at least in episode 10, that's the cliffhanger. It goes off with Jon Snow laying there in a pool of blood.
I hope it's not that big of a cliffhanger. But you know, they'll do anything. They will kill anybody.
Yes,
they will do anything, and so don't get attached to anybody.
Right, but don't think that he can't come back.
Yeah, because there's still a whole lot of stuff to go on with Jon Snow. That's a whole.
He's he's part of. I mean, we don't. Nobody can really confirm this because, like I said, in Dance with Dragons, that's the end of the story so far. I mean, nobody's got beyond that besides George R.R. Martin himself. But I think he is an in-game player like Danny. I think Danny and him are in-game players that go into season 6, 7, 8. I'm not sure how far they go with this.
Hopefully Tyrion too, because Tyrion's the best character ever.
And I think they bring in the prophecy, and I won't go really deep into that or nothing, but it's the prince that was promised, and that could be princess as well. But there also has to be 3 heads to the dragon. So I won't get to that. I think that ties into in-game stuff. So I think Jon Snow is still there. I think Dany's still there, and I think Riddick Bork. And I think that Tyrion's still there, at least, but you never know. I mean, that can be completely changed.
When they kill Tyrion, I will stop watching because he's the best.
Yeah.
And Dany has to go rule the entire world, so she's got to make it to the top.
I don't think that happens either, though. I think that's the logical conclusion you come to, right? Everybody thinks that she's going to end up being on the Iron Throne, but
I don't know. I think a lot of people think that Jon Snow's going to.
Well, one of those two, right? One of those two, but they end up being in the same family. I think we've confirmed that R plus L equals J. I mean, they've always said it. I mean, damn it, they've always said it. And then again, in the last episode, Maester Aemon and Sam's having that talk. And talking about Dany's over there alone, a Targaryen alone in the world's a horrible thing, and Jon Snow walks in. That was not an accident. That confirmed it for me. That was the final nail in the coffin.
Yeah.
So.
That's about all I got. I ain't read the books. Is this on?
Yeah, it's recording.
Is it still?
Yeah. So again, let me know what you guys think. Leave me a comment in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And I want to thank you guys so much, sincerely, for the last video, episode 6 review. It's my first video on YouTube that got over 10,000 views, and I think right now it's creeping towards about 12,000 or so. This is a relatively new channel, and the first video to go 10K was pretty outstanding to me. So I appreciate all the likes and shares and subscribers. Be sure to follow me on Facebook at facebook.com/smokescreenvids. Send me a shout out on Twitter as well, @smokescreenvids. We'll see you Sunday for the episode 7 recap.